Could something you are doing now be fueling your anxiety? I want to share the top 5 mistakes that I have made when it came to my anxiety and my mental health. This video is the first of the 5 mistakes. The before brain health me was a stressed out, frantic, overachiever, putting work before everything. And I was very much a frazzled mess in my mind. I held lots of anxiety and I had racing thoughts that never ended. I am in a much better place now, and my heart goes out to anyone who is where I had been. I have reflected on these times, and I want to share things that I was doing that contributed to my most anxious state so that you can learn from them and start feeling better today. Every day was a race to get in as much as I could. I had more things on my to-do list than was physically possible to do, so I would work through lunch and I'd work extra hours. I thought that if I could just push through and get caught up, that I would finally have relief. However, my job was unrelenting, and as many of you know, the mom life is an endless flow of chores and duties. I was in a race that did not have a finish line. Does this sound familiar? I had no understanding of the brain at this point, and I had no idea that this kind of behavior was really training my brain to be on and alert all day long. See, the brain is made up of many neural pathways. Repeated activities strengthen those pathways and form a habit. What I was doing when I was nonstop racing to every task was strengthening the habit in my brain to be on and alert at full speed. This bled into my downtime, my sleep, and it even made it impossible for me to enjoy vacations because this is how I train my brain. The first mistake that I want to share with you is that I trained my brain to be anxious, scattered, and frazzled by my repeated behavior. If you think, oh, that is definitely me, there is good news for you. The brain can change. And it is not too late to start training your brain to be calm, content, and at peace. I want you to really think about this. Here are some questions that I invite you to explore. How do you want to feel? For example, I just wanted to feel content and not stressed out. Maybe you want to feel happy, motivated, empowered, loving. Take some time to really hone in on your desires and make note of it. When you tell your brain what you want, it is more likely to get you there. So the second question is, how are you training your brain? What behaviors are you training your brain now that conflict with this feeling that you desire? What are you doing now that is not supporting how you want to feel? Every task I treated as a race. I never sat still. I never stopped to breathe and be. I didn't take lunch breaks or any breaks. I wanted to be content and not stressed out, but my actions were training my brain to be the complete opposite. Really reflect on what you are doing now that is not helping where you want to be, and write these down if you can. The next thing you can think about is, what can you do to reduce the pathways of the old habit? For example, one of my behaviors was not taking lunch breaks. To be honest, I still find it hard to take lunch breaks. But what I do to reduce the on all the time pathways and prevent the constant race habit is I take several moments throughout the day to practice being present. I stop and embrace the present moment as if I'm experiencing everything for the first time. I bring to my attention all 5 senses. This has been so helpful to me, and a habit I wish I started much sooner. Train your brain to be calm by planting calm moments of presence throughout your day. This makes total sense and is doable even for the busiest of people. You stop to pee, don't you? Take a sip of water, tea, or coffee. Every time you perform these activities, take a moment and give full intention to being calm and present. Train your brain to how you want to feel and reduce the activities that train it otherwise. So what are some other things you can do to train the brain to feeling what you want? For me, taking moments of being present throughout the day was really breaking the old habit of being on all the time. What are some other ways you can really train your brain to how you want to feel? I'm going to offer you a few ideas that you can try here if your goal is to feel present, content, or at peace. The first is to start a mindfulness practice. You probably have heard of this before. It has a lot of hype because it has a lot of backed research. It makes perfect sense when you think about it. When you practice being mindful and present, you are strengthening pathways to be mindful and present. You may be apprehensive to start this. To be honest, it is really hard for a busy mind. However, I would like to encourage you to start super easy with this. I like the free app Healthy Minds. I am not an affiliate of them or partner in any way. This is a free app that I use every day, and I want to share this with you. What I like about this is that it has an active setting. So the instructions are in a way that you can listen to while you're performing an activity, like washing the dishes, doing the laundry, or going for a walk. I like to listen to this every morning when I'm getting ready for work. This does not add any extra time to my day. I just plug in my earbuds as I get dressed and put on my makeup. Even if your mind resists this, that is okay. That is actually totally normal. When your mind wanders and you catch it, you are training your brain to be aware. It is incredible, and I have noticed a huge difference in my reactiveness and my overall feeling of being calm. The second idea to train your brain to be calm is to practice parasympathetic breathing. Breathing with your exhales longer than your inhales. When you exhale longer than you inhale, there's a signal to your brain to be calm. Again, this does not have to add anything to your day. Pair this with something else that you're already doing. Maybe you can practice this when you sit at a red light, or every time you wash your hands, before the start of a meeting, or when you walk through a doorway. This is perfect to practice and train your brain to be calm. The more repetitions, the better. Another idea is to practice yoga. Yoga is an amazing activity that connects your breath and movement in the body. Movement is also really good for your physical brain. I'm going to combine this with the next suggested idea, which is to add music. Something that I have found super helpful is to listen to the music from our yoga class at times when I notice I need extra calmness. See, my brain has connected those songs to calm and grace that I experience in yoga. When I listen to these songs, it helps to bring my brain to a calmer state. Even if you do not practice yoga, you can still add calming music to your day to help train your brain to be calm. The last tip I have is to practice gratitude. Gratitude boosts the neurotransmitter serotonin, which supports the feelings of peace and contentment. Maybe try adding this to your nighttime routine. Each night, reflect on the good things that happened, what you're thankful for. Here is a quick recap. Please learn from my mistakes. This is the first of 5 that I want to share with you. And it's to avoid training your brain to be anxious and frazzled. Instead, implement activities and moments throughout your day to train your brain for calmness and contentment. This could be by taking micro moments to practice being present. Practice breathing with longer exhales than inhales, which tells your brain to be calm. Practicing yoga. Listening to music to help trigger calmness. And to bring gratitude to your days. There's no need for you to take notes here. I have a summary of everything from this video in my free blog. You can find the link below.